everybody, and welcome to GenFreinds. I'm your host, Sherry Hudson-Passy, and we've got a marvelous panel, and we've got some special guests, so I can't wait to get this show on the road. So let me get our panelists introduced. We've got Melissa Barker, the archive lady. Hi, Melissa.
Hello, everybody. Good to be here.
Glad you're here. We've got Mary Kircher Roddy from MKR Genealogy. Hey, Mary.
Hi there. Good to be here.
Glad you're here. Shelley Murphy, our family tree girl.
Howdy. Greetings from Virginia.
We've got Dan Earl, our family history guy. Hey, Dan.
Hello.
Good to have you here. Last but not least, Laura. Laura is from Treasure Chest of Memories. Hi, Laura.
Hi, nice to be here.
I'm glad you're here too. Okay, guys, day 8 of Relative Race. We have special guests in the house to talk to. We have got Team Red themselves. We've got Amauni and we've got Jarrell.
Hey.
It's like a bittersweet thing, you know, because we always ask the teams to come on once they're allowed to talk about the show. And unless all the teams make it to day 10, that means you're getting strikes, and that's how you end up coming to talk to us. So it's kind of bittersweet. But we are, and let me tell you, I am so grateful that they had the golden ticket again this season, because they haven't done that every season. So when they pulled out that golden ticket, I was like, so we get to see them one more day. I was so excited, because on other seasons it was just see ya.
Yeah. I mean, season one, they pulled the people out as soon as they lost. I mean, it's like you don't even get to spend the night with your relatives. You are on your way to the airport. So
Oh, really?
Yeah. So it's the show's evolved, and so you know, it's a little bit different. What I thought we would do is just hit on some highlights of what happened on day 8, and then we really want to talk to you guys about your journey and what it was like. So I thought we'd take a few minutes and talk about the happenings on day 8. Now y'all had your third strike, so you got to get up and not have to be a little, you know, crazy and hurrying and all that kind of thing. But you, Jarrell, got a very special gift from your grandmother that I thought was just amazing. That blanket.
It's a pretty warm blanket. It's wool. It's really big, and I have it somewhere in we just moved, so it's somewhere in our house. So
it's in the basement.
Okay, it's in the basement, but it's really warm though. Yeah.
How sweet!
It's amazing that she kept that all these years. You know.
Yeah, that was so special.
She kind of waiting on you. She mentioned that when she grabbed you, I was grabbing you at the same time when she grabbed you, and I said, that's grandma. She grabbed that baby because she would still think of him, you know, probably as that baby, because she didn't get to have him around, but it was so special.
It was beautiful. She's a hoot. She's something else.
She is.
That's a granny of yours. I just loved her so much.
Dan couldn't respond. Not this Dan, the other Dan. Dan has been here with us also, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah. The other Dan.
Yeah,
the other
not
Dan.
Me, the other Dan.
Yes.
Yeah.
Their side Dan, the Dan that they've got on the side.
I did. So I thought that was beautiful that she gave that to you before you left to go on your journey to meet your next relative. You didn't have to do the challenge. And did y'all get to watch day 8? Are you glad you didn't do that too?
I did watch it. Honestly, I did watch it. Amauni would have got sick if she had to do that challenge, honestly.
Oh, I would have too.
I would have been sick on the ground.
Yes.
Yeah.
How would they have dealt with my glasses? I can't see without them.
Yeah.
So I would have had nothing.
Yeah.
That would be bad.
Kaylee was saying that she was getting sick. She said, y'all are going to see another side of me. You don't want to see.
You had to lay down.
Yeah.
Yeah. She did have to lay down.
Had to wear like drunk.
They had to wear, they had to wear goggles.
Like goggles and throw a ball into the bucket.
Wasn't it three different?
There are different kinds, yeah.
Yeah. 3 different types of goggles. Yeah.
And Mary, I don't think your glasses would have mattered, because I don't think you could have seen anything anyway, even if you had your glasses on.
The last pair of goggles they had, it looked like they were looking, it turned everything upside down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so then they had to throw balls into the buckets. And I just don't know how, I don't know how anybody could have done that without getting sick. Yeah.
Me too.
Team Green, of course, Steven's crying the whole time. We love, he cried when you guys got your strike. We love him.
Yes.
We love him because he's just all that emotion and he's so happy. Just all
He's
that
very
emotion.
active on Facebook also.
Yeah.
So that's how we're interacting with him on, what is it? Fans of Relative Race is the Facebook page. Yeah.
Mhm. Yes. That's such a fun page. Well, as you guys are all leaving, you guys sent out that really nice text, and you guys were really, it was a love fest as y'all were leaving and telling the other teams how much you love them and would keep supporting them and looked forward to talking to them afterwards. And I'm sure you've gotten together since then. Or if you're not able to yet, you will be getting together soon.
We've been together one time after the show, but we hope to get together again soon because we have a lot of fun.
I'm sure. Make sure y'all post those pictures on the Friends of Relative page because everybody will love to see that if y'all get together, and it'd be really fun. That's really fun. It's always fun for us as viewers to see what happens to the teams afterwards and how you stay bonded to each other and the relatives that you've met. I was talking about, well, then they started doing some smack texting, which is always funny. It's just always funny. And Team Black sent a text that said, well, it was something like, oh gosh, I wrote it down there. I can't remember what it said, but they said, as Team Black flies right by you, like Team Red is, what did it say?
It rhymed, whatever it was.
Yeah, it rhymed.
It was really funny. And they said that, and while Team Black goes flying right past you, and of course everybody was laughing, saying, why are they the team in the last place? Why are they sending us this kind of text? They were just kidding. So but anyway, so as we get to meet their relatives, we've got Stephen meeting his sister Becky, which was just beautiful. That was just beautiful. She was just telling him how much he looked like the rest of the family, so that's got to be so. It just Jarrell, I've got children that I've adopted, and I've got biological children as well. But as I watch this, I see you guys' reactions when you see people that look like you, and you've not seen that before. That just must be an incredible moment to see somebody who looks like you.
It is, because growing up as an only child, me not knowing if I had siblings or not, and then you find out that you have a lot of siblings, and they just hit you all at once. I have a lot of siblings, and they just hit you all at once. And then meeting Uncle Gene and cousin Charles, and Amauni points out that we have the same head and nose and stuff like that. So
that's what I was
yeah, knowing that I actually look like somebody, or having the same features as on my biological side, it's crazy.
Yeah.
That made the evening for me when he said you got the big head, that looking just like him, or the auntie said that, but I want to make a comment. It was so interesting when the aunt, or your aunt, said she knew you, and then of course marries the uncle. And I thought that was real pivotal, because of course we're sitting on the side watching this. That was so interesting, and the expression on your face. I don't know if you went back and looked at the episodes prior to that, but it was almost an unbelief look, even though it ends up being very valid, that she knew you as a baby, had you, that and was there very early in your life. So that was a real emotional moment to watch when she's telling you going through that first thing. And my thought was, oh God, I want to know how he's feeling because he can't say anything, you know. And so I'm asking you, how was that for you when it got presented? And then I'm gonna think of Amauni thinking, I could say a bad word, but I won't, but like, oh gosh, you know, what's happening with the auntie and stuff. So I thought it was significant. So I'd really like to hear your experience of that. Because again, we saw the face, you know, and things like that. So
was it the day before we met my brothers?
I believe so.
When we met my brothers.
So.
Yes.
Okay, so
I believe so.
So the day before, so the night before, I was talking to my brother Michael, and he was telling me that my uncle married my grandma, and I'm in my mind, I'm like, what? So then I tell Amauni, it's like it had to be like 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning. I come to him, I'm like, I woke up, Amauni like, Amauni, my uncle married my grandma. I was like, wait, how does that even sound? So when she told us that, it was like I brought them together in a sense, but it's kind of weird. It's kind of weird, but it does make sense. Once it all got explained, it all made sense how Martina is my grandmother.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
We didn't know what we were going to. We thought we were going into something crazy. I'm like, your grandma married your uncle. That's kind of weird. And when we saw them, I was kind of like, okay, I don't think this is what they were saying it was, but it all was explained and it made sense.
You were probably relieved to hear the story because it wasn't as bad as what was in your head.
Yeah, maybe that's what stunned him. Whew.
They had to break it all the way down.
Yeah. Oh gosh.
Oh my.
To have them video those moments like that are so raw, that's going to be so hard. Or do you just forget the camera's there?
Honestly, in the moment, you just forget the camera's there because it's like you're having a straightforward conversation. And I get emotional, but I don't get emotional. And when I get emotional, it's serious. When I get emotional,
Jarrell does not cry.
I don't cry.
Not Stephen
really
emotional.
Not
You
Stephen
had
emotional.
me crying. I don't know what you think you were
Stephen
doing, but you
emotional.
had me crying. When you started crying, I start crying. You know,
you had
like,
us all crying.
They need a do not watch at work warning.
Yeah.
Your stuff.
Exactly.
Like, my students were coming in, they're like, "What's wrong, Mr. Earl?" I was like, "Nothing. Do your schoolwork. Come on. Back to work."
You know, besides crying, you had us laughing. You're singing in the car.
Oh,
Was
yeah.
so hysterical. You guys were so funny. Just
Amauni, you're funny.
You are.
You're really funny.
And you're so expressive. You're behind him clapping or jumping up and down or
Yeah.
we just
enjoyed
watching.
That's how I am all the time. I'm always like, yay.
The cheerleader.
Yay, I'm on GenFriends.
How was it getting back with your kids? You know, after, you know, the show's home, you're back with your kids. Everything almost like you weren't even gone, or they were happy to see you. Then mom and daddy's back. That's it. Or anything different once you got back home?
When we got home, they said, "Mommy, JJ," and then went back to normal life.
Normal.
Normal life.
What are their ages?
I'm sorry.
What are their ages?
The oldest is 12, and then we have twins. They're 6.
Okay. Yeah. You're
fun.
not
So fun.
I
Laura,
don't
you
want
said
to say not that important at the day, but you were that you came home and they're good.
Yeah.
Laura, you've got a question?
Yeah. So Jarrell, I was wondering how, if you had a chance to watch any of the episodes with your biological mom and how she felt as watching you go through your journey, etc.
It's interesting.
I think he froze.
Yeah, they did.
We'll give him a second.
Usually she'll me and ask me if I'm sure or not. Well, we're free.
Okay, you guys froze for a minute. You froze for a minute.
You're back.
Now you're back.
Oh,
You're back.
sorry.
So not together, but we did watch the show, and then we would talk about it like the next morning or so, or next day. I don't know. She really didn't have much to say. We really didn't have much to say about the show. We just really talked about it and, the experience and how the journey is going.
Mm-hmm.
So she's like your supporter.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That was nice.
Before we talk about who you got to see on your last day, I just want to run through the other teams really quick, just so that we've caught up with day 8. So Stephen got to meet his sister Becky and got some more pictures of his father, whom we're hoping that he gets to meet, and learn some more information. And he has a brother, Michael, that had already passed away. And there was another sister that she mentioned. So he's got a lot of siblings as well. So who knows what's going to happen with him on day 9. I loved that Kaylee got to meet a relative.
And I love JT's expression when he was kind of behind her on the couch and she was talking to the cousin. I mean, just the look in his eyes was
so sweet.
It just is precious. Yeah.
It was sweet. And she had all this genealogy, this was the cousin on her father's side, going back to Italy. And they had all these pictures of great-great-grandparents in the town in Italy where they came from. And she's all talking. She got our hearts because she was talking about going back there and walking where her ancestors walked. And we're like, exactly. That's what us genealogists like to hear. Let's see. Then then we got the twins, Team Black. They got to meet 2 more sisters. They got to meet half sisters. And what's really interesting is these are their half sisters on their father's side. So of course they look like their dad, and she looks just like their dad. And Pam says, "You're not my twin, you're his twin."
Yeah. I mean, those pictures were just amazing. Really, you put a different wig on him and you have her.
Yeah, exactly. And Christine saying, "This is where I got my face." People are always saying, "Where did I get my face?" I'm like, I don't know. It's just my face. Now she knows where she got her face. But I loved a part where she said that we didn't know where we came from, but we've always known where we belonged, talking about their mom and dad that raised them. And I thought that was really sweet. And they also got a phone call from their mom and dad in the car too, rooting them on, which I thought was really, really special.
Yeah, I've seen all of the seasons of Relative Race, but I've only seen this one and the last 2. But I mean, is it unusual to get these phone calls? They had one last week.
Yeah.
And now this week.
So.
Didn't you guys got a phone call, didn't you? Yeah,
yes.
Uncle called you, right?
Yep. Uncle Gene called us.
Yeah, which is not something they normally do unless they have just never shown it.
I think it's a great addition. And I think
so
it's
too.
Especially a great way to bring the biological parents kind of into the journey instead of it being.
You mean the adoptive parents?
You mean the adoptive.
I'm sorry, I said the wrong word.
Right. That's new for this season. It seems to be more prevalent this season. And I think that's
because I think it gives a fuller breadth of the story of what's going on. Instead of there was this chapter and then there's this chapter, kind of runs and stuff. I like it as an addition to Relative Race.
I do too. Jarrell, your adoptive mom was very supportive. I mean, the scenes that we saw of her and you talking to her, she was so supportive of you doing this. And I think that I'm sure that helped you go forward and feel free to meet your biological family without feeling like you were maybe, causing her any pain. She's the one that she really was supporting you and telling you to do this and find closure and peace and find your biological family. I think that's so special that she did that for you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I've been wanting to do this right out of high school. And after the military, it kind of got put on the back burner a little bit. So I never forgot about it. It was just, I had so much other stuff going on that I actually ran into a dead end too, honestly.
Well, the timing had to be right, and you had to get on Relative Race.
Right.
Yes.
And the Black team's adoptive parents, when they were on the phone with them, they sounded so supportive and truly happy for what the girls were doing and
we're finding. I think that's wonderful. I think it's so wonderful to see the other side, like Laura said, the other side of the story. Well, it's the whole story. You're all family. So I just think that's wonderful. I wanted to talk to you now about your last day and your last relative that you got to meet, which we were so thrilled you got to do that. And it was you got to go home. You said, this is where I'm going home. Who could be there? I'm going home. Who could possibly be there? And how amazing to find somebody there that lived there. I mean, do they live there? Because I know sometimes on the show, they're like rental houses. They're not really where they live. Shh, we know that. But is that really where it was your cousin, right? Another cousin that you met with, am I right?
Yeah.
So
my cousin Kai.
Yes, she's so sweet.
Yeah. Well, the question, when you said you were going home, did that mean you were going to the same city and she was in the same city? I want to clarify.
So when I said I was going home, because we was going to Columbus, that's where I was born, was Columbus, Ohio.
Right. Yes. Yeah.
But cousin Kai doesn't live in Columbus.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
So, Dan explained. We asked Dan, the other Dan.
We had the other Dan.
Or those real addresses, because there's an audience and people follow GenFriends and stuff. So we did ask that, and he said no. This, that, and other. So we knew that. But I just didn't know if you meant all the way back to where you were currently living, where the kids are at, and all of that stuff. I just wasn't.
No.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. That's
How
great.
wonderful for her to take you in the house and then have a Zoom call.
Yeah.
That was fun.
Oh, how fun for everybody. And I love their reactions when you were telling them who you'd met, and how many siblings that you have, and all those kind of things. That was great. That was great. So you got 17, right? Is that what it was? 17 siblings?
13.
13? I thought you said 17. Okay.
Yeah,
No, I had
17.
10 on my dad's side and then 3 on my mom's side.
Okay, so 13. Wow. Okay. That's still a big number.
That's big.
That's a lot.
What does that feel like now?
It's actually pretty cool, because on my mom's side, I'm the older brother, but on my dad's side, I don't know anything about them.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So you still haven't met them?
I have not, no.
Did you were gonna meet, so had you been able to stay till day 9, there would have been one more relative to meet, right? Yeah, because you would have. Did you get that information? Who would you have been able to meet?
We didn't get that information.
Oh, you didn't? Oh, I thought they gave you all that. Maybe they will now that once the show's ended, maybe that's when they give it all to you.
Yeah, I think Dan referenced that once it was over, they actually get
everything,
all the stuff that
get all research. That stuff.
Yeah.
Because we all want to know. So you'll have to let us know if you find out who you would have met. Because we
don't leave us hanging.
I was hanging.
We won't.
Because we'd really like, because we're nosy like that.
Well, we're nosy like that, but that also helps possibly, it might be something that sparks something in our own research or for a client or something like that, that they found somebody or found something different, and I'm going to bust Mary right quick,
Okay, do that.
Well, I know I'm going to say not just for Jarrell and them, and Mary here on the screen, wave your hand, Mary. A lot of us as genealogists, right, aka Mary, as things are happening, the research is also going on. We're pulling stuff, we're verifying, we're checking while y'all are going through this on TV. Or I know we're obsessed, and so it's interesting. And Mary had done some research on something else, and so I'm just calling her out because she's known for that, and she's excellent at doing that. But a lot of times, and that's the interest that really holds, it's about the family, but it's also how they found them, because we don't see the research, we only see the end product. So in our minds, we're calculating, well, how'd they do this? What did they do? And stuff. So that's the thrill, like for me, is being able to connect those dots, back from you being adopted and what happened prior to that. I don't know if you knew or not knew, or even some of the story. And so when we see these families going through this and reconnecting, it's really amazing for me. I mean, that's the part I love in my job and being a genealogist, is making that connection. So these people could meet, or, families connect. And I'll let Mary go from there.
Mary will text us, like in our little group chat. She'll be like, "Oh, I already know who the mother is. She wears a size 8 shoe, like Flamin' Hot Cheetos, and she drives a Volvo, Federal City, Washington."
Don't put out like, too much on the
like, never tick off Mary Kircher Roddy. She has the ability to end you. That's what she's got. She can find you. She will send people to your home. Make her happy if you see her, everyone. Make her happy.
I am truly an addict. And I mean, I joke that I will go, find some wino down on First Avenue in Seattle to see if I can find ancestors for them, just because I will find anybody.
Yeah.
But it's a challenge. You need to tell them that what you ate the other day on one of your trips.
Okay, so I got to go to Kentucky last week. I'd never been before. And so I had a hot brown, and I thought, that's what Jarrell ate. Only I got.
Oh, that's right.
My friend said, don't get the large one, get the small portion, because you'll never be able to finish the large one. And I remember how big your guys's were.
Yeah.
So I had that. And then the other thing, I was, still in Kentucky when you guys went to Maysville, and we were talking about Maysville, and we didn't go that route. We landed at Cincinnati Airport in Kentucky and went elsewhere in Kentucky, but we could have gone to Maysville, but we went someplace different. Anyway, it was like, I know that place. So anyway, it's kind of exciting.
Sorry to bust you on that, Mary.
That's okay.
She does. She and Stephen knows this because we talked about it on that episode, and she told him she looked up Stephen's sister and knew all about her before Stephen met her on the show.
Yeah.
So
I had the whole family down.
She had it all because she pulled the name, because I showed that death certificate. So, note to relative race, if you don't want Mary looking in,
it's almost like freeze the screen. What was that thing?
Zoom in to the documents, because Mary
like
is going to pull the names out
on all the important documents that I can find information off of.
So funny. Okay, so let me ask you this question, and probably you'll hear this question a million times. The challenges, which was the hardest?
Hoop and scoop. Hoop and scoop was the hardest challenge.
You think that was the hardest one?
Yeah.
That was extremely hard. We had to do that challenge. It was raining the whole time.
Yeah, I remember that. Right. It was raining.
It was really hard. And you can't tell how hard it's raining when you're watching the show, but it was raining the whole entire time. It did not.
Yeah, we
it was
felt
like as
bad
soon
for
as we
you.
got there, it just poured down rain.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Yeah, we felt really, really bad for you while we were watching it.
We did.
So we could tell it was raining really hard. Is there anything that they didn't show that you wish they would have?
Oh, good question.
On for your
interesting.
particular part of the race?
Granny's raw footage.
Don't mess with Granny now.
Oh man.
You guys would have been in tears of laughter.
90% of our meeting with Granny could not be shown. It was hilarious. Yeah.
But it was.
Why couldn't it be shown? Because of her vocabulary or the topics or?
Yes, all the above.
All the above?
All of that, yes. Granny has no filter at all.
Oh wow.
I love
I
it.
love
I
it.
love it. So
I love
funny.
it.
Funny.
So you know what I noticed this season that I don't think I've noticed in past seasons is it seems like whenever you all or any of the other groups would stop and ask policemen or firemen or people in stores for directions, nobody knew where anything was.
That was
that was odd.
Like, how you don't know where you live at? You don't know the area you live in. So it was like hit or miss there. And then it was the what was it? The mailman.
Oh.
He gave us directions, but gave us the wrong directions.
Yes.
And I'm like, you delivered the
Okay,
That
explains a
explains
lot.
about mail.
That explains a lot. Oh, that's so frustrating.
I think Mary has a
How did you like
question.
Oh,
the
go ahead. I'm
flip
sorry,
side?
Mary.
Oh,
Yeah, I just want to know, did you guys do any pre-training, or is there things that you wished you had maybe thought about training for that you didn't? I don't know, map reading or whatever.
So for one, I hadn't watched the show. I'd never heard of the show. And then I didn't prepare for anything because I really didn't know what I was preparing for. And I kind of went in without any expectations. I kind of wanted it to be like a surprise, like it was something totally new, and just winged it.
Well, you did a good job. You did a good job.
You did. You did.
And it just,
So
you guys were just
applied?
having.
How did
If
did
you hadn't heard of
everybody-
it, how did you get on? I mean, what made you apply if you hadn't heard of it?
We didn't apply. They found Jarrell. We didn't apply for the show.
Oh,
wow.
We didn't know about it.
Sneaky.
This was actually the second time they contacted me. The first time was probably like
A year or two ago.
Yeah, about 2 or 3 years ago, they contacted me, and I just didn't respond because, like I said on the show, and like I told all the relatives, I thought it was a scam because you just don't get an email saying, "Hey, we want you to find your family. We want to help you find your biological family." That's just not something you get in the email. It's just not.
If it sounds too good to be true, it is too good.
Yeah.
It usually is.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Had you done the DNA test? I mean, just
No.
So what happened was when our twins were born, I met a nurse who was also adopted, and we got to talking, and he gave me a website to go to try to find find anything about my biological parents or any of that nature. And I just hit a dead end because my name was changed and everything was changed. Like
Everything
honestly,
was sealed.
Yeah, it was a sealed adoption, so I wouldn't have never found any of this information out.
so relative race must have been looking at that website then.
Yeah,
to have found
absolutely.
you.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
well, that's
'cause
new
once it's
because
on-
we've always thought that everyone applied, huh?
It's
Yeah.
in the air.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
Well, I think it's probably a combination.
Yeah, but we didn't know that.
We didn't know that. We thought all the teams had applied. Wow.
No, I think we heard somebody say something about that, or maybe you guys said it on the air. I feel like we do this, that it could happen.
So I guess note to everybody out there: if you get an email, hey, you want to find your family,
just verify it.
And so contact them back.
I would just looking out for that would just be to verify it, you know, because there's still so many, I'm gonna say thousands and thousands of people that don't see this show.
Right.
You know, we probably would not have seen it. I'm not looking for anything at BYU. I'm at UVA, Florida State, you know, other things I'm affiliated with. I only know for, you know, Family Search, the Mormon Church. As far as Salt Lake City, I wouldn't go any further beyond that because
people would think it was a scam.
Stay a week, do research, and come back out of there. And if it wasn't for the involvement with Family Search, I probably would never be seeing this program either. That, you know, and stuff. It just wouldn't have came in
you answered the second email or however they got you, however they got you the second time.
I told him to respond finally, since they reached out twice. I was like, let's just see what
they're talking about.
Behind every good man is a great woman. There you go, Amani.
There you go.
He knows.
He knows. He knows.
I do.
So I know sometimes, you know, when these things happen and we see that people have been in contact and they meet their biological family, sometimes things go well, sometimes things don't go well. And so I'm hoping that things have still been going well with everyone that you've met. And I know it can't be easy to suddenly have all these people dropped in your lap and say, we're family now, when you don't really know each other. So I'm sure that takes some time and some getting used to each other. So I'm hoping everything is still going well.
It is. I talk to my mom, my biological mom, probably every other day. She usually calls me before she goes to work while I'm at work. And then we have a group chat, Victoria, Michael, Sierra, and Aaron. We all have a group chat on Facebook. I talk to Martina. She calls every once in a while. And then Uncle Gene, I talk to him every so often.
Great.
I talked to Meemaw today.
Oh, yeah. She talked to Meemaw today.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so sweet.
That's great, though.
Yeah, that is great. That is great. I'm glad that things are going well and that, you know, you can continue those connections that you've made. And I hope that at some point when the time is right, that you'll be able to get in touch with your paternal side as well and make some connections there. If that's something that you want to do, if that's something that they want to do, I hope that you'll be able to make those connections as well. So is there anything anybody else wanted to, we didn't talk about results. Let's talk about results real quick for day 8 so that we know what's going on. Gosh, so the winning team from day 7 got to go up, move up a notch. Okay. Right. So that's what their reward was. And then whoever won day 8 gets a day 10 benefit. So that's what was going on with the results. And of course, did you guys love being able to turn your computer around and introduce your relative to the other teams?
Yes, that was fun.
Especially grandma.
Yeah. That's a highlight.
Yeah, that's
you guys got the clean version. It was more.
Well, I think the funniest thing was when she was saying how good looking a man Dan was, and the look on Dan's face.
Yeah, he couldn't even respond. Well, actually, that would have been where they cut off. So there must have been more dialogue.
I think so.
They probably did.
That. Yeah, because Dan's not going to miss that chance. Not with his personality. He would have enjoyed that very much.
But yeah, we love, that's one of my most favorite parts of each season is when they started doing that and they incorporated those Zoom calls and you're able to introduce your relatives to the other teams and that bonding, because you're all going through, you might be meeting different people and you may have different desires and wishes for who you meet, but you're still dealing with the same things and you understand each other. And you could tell that you guys did bond. There's a good connection. At least it felt like it watching the season that you guys.
No, what you felt was real. We really, 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 really did love the other teams. I mean, we do love the other teams.
Not past tense, right?
Right. It was all real. We loved them so much.
You can tell. You can tell you did.
Support each other and we root each other on. Just watch the show together. So
did you meet them in person before you started filming, or was it all virtual?
We were all on the same plane.
Yeah, I saw that.
Oh, that's right. That's right. The helicopter. So that's how it's okay.
No.
They were all on the same plane.
Airplane. Right, but I forgot that whole day with the helicopters and everybody taking off.
But how fun to be on the same airplane. And then Bill said, "What team are you? What team are you?"
Yes, we just happened to hear. It actually ended up being blue team and green team talking to each other, and they're like, "Oh, we're doing this," and they just sparked up a conversation. I'm like, we're all sitting in the same area on the same plane for the same show. I was like, we're Team Red. And they're like, oh, we're Team Green. We're Team Blue. We're all together on the same show. So,
wow.
And then Pam was on the plane too. But yeah.
That's so fun. Oh, that is so fun. It did come through. It came through that you guys really did bond and connect. So I love that. So we had Team Blue actually coming in first.
Yeah.
For about 30 seconds.
Yeah.
And then Team Green came in second, but because they had gotten that, they had won the day before, they got to move up. So there goes Team Blue.
They got to bump the first,
second place. So they got first for about 30 seconds and then they swapped. And then Team Black got their third strike, and so we were so sad. We were so sad for them, but they do have that. They have that golden ticket, so they get one more day. And since Team Black is looking to meet their dad, Team Green is looking to meet their dad, Team Blue is looking to meet their dad.
I think the next show is going to be a dad show.
Father's Day. It might just be Father's Day on Relative Race. Who knows? Who knows? But
I know y'all can't say nothing, but but this is our prediction.
Yes.
It's our wish.
It's our wish.
It's our wish. Yeah, that's a better way of saying it.
Exactly. It must be so hard to be on a show like this and know everything that's going to happen and not be able to say anything to anybody. That's got to be so difficult.
It is, because people ask questions. Like I listen to you guys sometimes when I'm able to catch the show. Sometimes I'm at work or something and I'm like, oh, let me watch a little bit. And I'm like, oh, I can't say anything.
Well, we're
just honored that you would watch us. So
yeah. You know what? I'm gonna put Cheri hat on. You can come back anytime you want to.
Yes.
So we could have a different conversation.
Exactly. We have a different conversation. Maybe after day 10, we can get the whole crew.
We get everybody on. That'd be great.
We've done that before, and that's been so fun. We had season 6 on. We had season 6 on, all of them. And then a couple of months later, they reached out and said, can we do it again? Came back on again.
They wanted to see each other. That's why they came back on
again. To see each other. So we'll have to invite you back on when everybody can talk. That would be really fun.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Yeah.
Be
well, is there anything else anybody wanted to bring up that we may have missed?
A question.
Yes.
Yes, I got a question.
As long as he doesn't give us an answer.
What's your question?
So how did you guys feel about, at the end of the shows, the previews for next episode. How did you guys feel about it? Because me personally, I felt like they gave away a lot of the show.
I agree with you, and they haven't done that in seasons before. I do think
no, they have not.
Yeah.
Well, I watched the
watch on the
recording,
app, and I never see
I
it.
watched the recording, and there's no previews in the recording when I watch it.
It's only when you're watching it live.
Only when you're watching it live do they show you the previews.
Yes.
Yeah, but I think we're a bad crowd because all of us are going to watch the next episode anyway. So those teasers do nothing for us. So we're probably the wrong people to ask. So
and Mary's already figured it out anyway.
Yeah,
like Mary already knows who they're going to find in the next episode.
In fact, she could probably
She's already found them for them.
Yeah, she could probably give you an address if relatively.
Are you on the team, Mary? That's doing some of that research.
I wish.
Yeah,
no, I mean,
you should apply.
Yeah, I think you're right. That gives too much away rather than just teasing.
I agree.
Yeah, because the back of your mom's head, I said, that's his mother. That's his mother.
So we already know.
Who else? You know.
Yeah. I agree.
Anyway,
I agree with you. They need to. Yeah, they're showing a little too much, and so there's no
more than ever before in the previous. I've watched it from season 1 all the way through, and actually have watched everything twice. You know, and stuff, because doing research, you put these kind of things on the TV for background noise and stuff. But yeah, this one has just a little bit more. You know.
I agree. I agree. I agree. Yeah. So now for diehard fans, we're like, okay, this is great. We think this is what's going to happen. I don't think they need to do that to encourage people to watch. We're going to watch. And it would be more of a surprise if they didn't give away so much in the commercials. So and because Relative Race pays so much attention to our opinions.
Exactly. I do have one parting question.
Okay. Good.
Don't be offended.
Oh no.
No, it's a generational thing. It's about the maps. It's about the maps. And my kids can't read a map. They do GPS. You know what I'm saying? But has anything changed there? You even thought about having to figure out a map? Because y'all did good on some of those, but then there were some challenges and stuff. And if people are not exposed to that, of course they're not gonna know. You know, and my kids, of course, would have grown up, and they're a little older than you guys and stuff, but they use GPS, Google Maps, Plano, I don't even know if they've ever picked up a paper map, to be honest with you. So I don't know what would happen, and think of my son, I could see him having a cloud coming up and it would be Google Maps or Earth Map or something up there. But, wasn't that
if they didn't watch the show, if they've never watched the show before, then they didn't know that they weren't going to have.
Exactly. That's kind of my point.
That's exactly it.
So did you know they were going to take your phone? Did you know you were going to have to use a map? They were going to have a Polaroid camera. Yeah.
They told us what it was before we even started anything. So we knew that we weren't going to have GPS and things like that. I wanted to practice using a map, but then I was like, no, I'm just going to wing it.
Go for the experience. Yeah.
Yeah. And it wasn't the first day. It was hard because I was like, oh no, it's not the same. But then I started thinking about the GPS and how sometimes it's flipped. The compass is flipped sometimes.
That's right.
And so I figured that out. And from then on, I was able to read the map, no problem. Right. It was just figuring out which route was the best route.
Right. And you guys did get your free minute of GPS.
Yes, they did. Yeah.
That didn't work. That didn't work out so well.
So when we did that, we did not know that we could actually use the actual voice navigation.
Wow.
We thought we just had to figure it, and we didn't know it. We couldn't tell if it was telling us to turn left or right out of that gas station.
Yeah.
So and when I was trying to figure it out, and I'm like, well, I think we have to keep going. And Jarrell's like, no, we got to turn around. It wouldn't be that far. And I'm like, no, I think we got to keep going. And eventually we figured it out, but yeah. It was a nightmare.
I also think with the maps that we had, they were state maps. So they weren't like city maps or neighborhood maps. So they showed like the big part and then super main state routes, but they don't show like side roads.
No, you get a couple main streets on the state map, but that's it. So everything else, that's why we have to get out and ask for directions and try to just figure it out.
Right. And
that is so interesting. I thought they were local maps. You know,
and do people look at you weird? Because I had wondered if that's why people didn't want to give you directions, because they probably thought, why don't they use their phone?
No, it
right.
When we were in Bowling Green, we we were looking for my cousin, and we stopped at like a automotive shop or something like that, and they spoke broken English, and imagine we're running up to them, and then there's cameras running up, and they're like, wait a minute, what's going on? And then they just looking at us, and we're looking at them, and we're like, let's go, we need to go somewhere else.
Oh, sure. And we said that before. We thought that probably people think that there's something wrong with these teams when they run up, and like you said, you've got the cameras and all that. It probably just freaks people out. You know, why are these crazy people not using their GPS?
Yeah, and well, we had a police officer, and I'm not sure if they showed that. That's when we were looking for Granny and Sierra. And I think I went up to a police officer, and I was like, well, he would know where to go. He was like, well, let me look up my GPS. And I'm like, I can't use GPS.
This is a show. This is a game. I can't do that. It's against the rules. So funny.
Yeah.
I think firemen came through so far this season.
Yes.
The firemen have been great locators.
Stephen and Susan helped. Yeah, got help from a firefighter too. So
JT and stuff too.
Yeah.
Remember?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So
well, JT probably told him, well, I'm so and so from this.
Oh yeah. He to let him know. Yeah, definitely. So I'm excited for next Sunday. So
I am too. To see, just to see who they meet and you know how things go.
I have a question.
Yes, sure.
It's kind of like for you all collectively. So after before doing the show, I never realized how big the genealogy community was. And then after the show, I'm like, wow, this is a huge community. Like this is very serious. You know what I mean? Like there are people really dedicated to genealogy research. So, and whoever wants to answer, I mean, I really don't care. What made you go into genealogy? Like what was so intriguing about it that you decided like to give so much time to the research and just to be in this huge community of science? I love science. So, I mean, I'm just very intrigued with this community because I didn't realize how big it was and how serious, people took this.
Well, for me, it was family stories, starting to hear family stories when I was a kid, and then starting to say, okay, that's this person now who is their mom. And then it becomes addictive. It really does. You start looking for pictures, you start looking for records, and you just, then you're like this. It's just what you want to do all day long. Mary, you were going to say something?
Yeah, well, my husband is a professor, and we were going to live in Ireland, and I had some Irish ancestors, so I wanted to learn more about it. That's what started me. But then, I mean, I have always loved history. I've just been a total history nerd, and this is such a personal connection to those big picture historical events that you've always heard about, and to find that that's real people. Every single one of those big events was individuals just like us.
And what were my ancestors doing at that time, and were they involved? Yeah, and how? Yeah, exactly.
For me,
Laura?
I had an aunt that was really into genealogy, and I found it very interesting, but I was happy to let her do all the research. but then she revealed a big family lie, a big mystery. And then I was hooked that you had the family stories and you had traditions, but then there was the whole fact finding and the mysteries and unraveling. So I love the stories to begin with, but I also, it's like puzzling, constantly puzzling things out. So the research side of it is.
Dan, what about you?
Dan, I'll go after you.
Well, I just thought this was about rocks. No, it was.
When you say you're a professional genealogist, people think you're saying gynecologist. They think you're saying geologist.
Right.
All sorts of them.
So for me, it was my dad had all of these like really cool stories about our ancestors on my dad's side. But in talking to my mom, I mean, my grandma's an immigrant to the United States, and my mom she's first generation on her mom's side, and then second generation American on her dad's side, and so we didn't have those stories. And so for me, it's been wanting to discover who those people were, and then also verify that those stories that my dad told me were correct. But a lot of it's been just wanting to know more about that side of my family, and knowing that their stories were just as valuable as these other stories, and wanting to know more about who they were. And it's just been for me, just a great personally fulfilling journey of discovery, getting to know these people that lived and died hundreds of years ago on, the other side of the world. And it's just been absolutely amazing for me. So
Shelley?
My mom kind of is the one that really got me hooked, and she's still with us, so she's 91, but she always shared stories from her grandmother. And what piqued my interest when she said her great-grandfather, her grandmother's dad, was a slave. And it was like, what? Wait. Now this is in the 70s. So think all the stuff that's going on, in the 70s. Wait a minute. And so that got me interested, and I was helping her. We were stationed overseas in the 80s. Well, not overseas, but in Hawaii. And so I was trying to help her and order stuff from there. The internet's just really coming in, and things like that. And so we were all handwriting and inquiring about this. So I started reading and trying to understand slavery. And I'm thinking, wait a minute, this mixed family. Wait, we got slaves. Wait, we got slaveholders. We got this, we got that. So I was hooked. That was it. It was over. It was done. I had a day job, which, which didn't have anything really to do with genealogy. But when I retired, I am now doing full-time research, where, it was always kind of part-time per se, where now I have the pleasure of doing it 7 days a week. And that is my schedule, 7 days a week.
It's just, it gets very addictive. Now, I don't know what happened to Melissa. I wonder if her power cut off or something. She just disappeared.
I think so. Yeah.
I don't want to put words in her mouth, but Melissa is an archivist. Yeah. So, but she was a genealogist first. And so she got a dream job that she works in the archives. And so she sees all these old photos and documents and the places that we go to look. It's all these old things that we go and look for our family, and she's working in one. And so we're very jealous that she gets to spend all her days and time in an archives where, all the things are. And so I don't know how she got started. I don't know her story, but we're very, very, very lucky to have her on the panel, because she can always look at things from an archivist point of view.
Genealogist first. She's got 30 some years as a genealogist, and then the last 10, 12 years
as an archivist,
I think.
So she's got the best of both worlds going on. Yes. So thank you for asking that question. That was very kind of you.
No one's ever asked us a question.
Nobody's ever asked the question. Thank you so much. And you're right. The relative race community is big. There's a lot of fans on that. Some of them are, genealogists. Some of them just like the show. And so, but there is a big genealogy community out there too. So a lot of times the teams from Relative Race get to come to Rootstock, which is the biggest genealogy conference in the world. And it's before COVID, was held every February in Salt Lake. And the teams, a lot of times the teams would come and we'd be able to talk to them there. And if you ever get a chance, once things get back to normal, you should come out there if you want to see and be overrun with genealogists.
We're talking 20, 30,000.
You'll have to come out and
sit
around in the Relative Race booth, and we can all come and meet in person. So that would be really, really fun. But we haven't been able to do that.
It's more fun than it sounds. For real. It's more fun than it sounds. It's more fun than it sounds, right?
It sounds really fun. I think that I would love to experience something like that. I've never experienced anything like that before. But I really love science and I love history, and like to put it all together is like mind blowing. So
we've got a budding genealogist in our midst.
Well, you know,
if you ever need genealogy advice, you know where to come.
You've got all of us. You've got all of us to help you.
Find us. We're all on Facebook. We all got Facebook pages, you know, this, that, and the other. And we all might have more than one Facebook page. But yeah, you got questions, ask away. That's what we do.
Yep.
You know, answer questions.
And that's how we all started. Was there was somebody else who would answer our questions?
Yes.
Besides, Mary already knows all of your family tree, so she's already figured it all out. So
yeah,
your grandma liked flaming hot Cheetos. That was on the census record.
Wouldn't that be fun if it was on
the census record? That would be.
There's like some Cheeto dust. Mary goes to the original and finds some Cheeto dust on the census record. Like, I knew it.
Yeah. and one of the things, Amauni, is, and I posted it in the chat, but some of us make a living doing this type of research. And I'm not talking about, I mean, we make a living that we can support families with. Some of us do it part-time, some do it full-time. A lot of us are also, I'm going to say, make it really proper and sound bigger than what it is, but we're educators also in this field. You know, pretty much all of us do presentations and teach and things. I was making it proper, you know, educators. But yeah, we do presentations and stuff and all over the place. You know, so yeah, we're, like I said, you got our names and stuff.
That's right. You reach out. And anybody watching GenFriends, reach out. We'd love to get you started and get you addicted.
Absolutely. There's more to be done.
That just came out totally wrong.
First one.
You know what I meant.
Like, come on, Cheri.
On that note,
anyway,
thank you so much for joining us. We have had so much fun getting to know you, and we hope you'll come back anytime you want to come back on. Let us know. We'd love to have you. Thanks everybody for watching GenFriends, and I can't believe we've made it to day 8 of this season's Relative Race. Just 2 more to go, and we will continue talking about it and sharing our thoughts and our feelings about this. So with that, we will say goodbye, and we will see you next time on GenFriends. Bye, everybody.
Bye.